In 2018, a crack YouTube unit was sent to social media prison by an algorithm for a crime they didn't commit. These producers promptly escaped from a maximum security social media stockade to the internet underground. Today, still wanted by social media, they survive as producers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Smash Team. So we got a bunch of filamentary activity going on. We've got all kinds of magnetic stuff occurring. A filament to the north of that plage. These filaments over here, trailing that sunspot that set a couple of days ago. And a region of magnetic complexity in front of the plage around down in this area. We'll look at the magnetogram. Here's that active region. Not a sunspot. Just a plage. Just a plage.
Plage. Plage.
Now, we did forget to cover the Gong 2 magnetic information this morning. I wanted to look at the Lasco C2 first, as we do see some funkiness going on here on the east side. See a coronal mass ejection coming off there. Let me get the timestamp on this. There you go. Let that play through again. It's actually a couple days old at this point, occurring mainly on the 12th, late the 12th, early the 13th. We'll look at the C3 also. A little streamer. Get a little more zoomed out view here. I don't think the magnetic things on the Gong 2 have anything to do with this. There is a small bit of ejecta coming out of the western limb too there. I'll let that play through again. Yep, so we failed to cover the Gong 2 this morning. Of course, when a complete polarity cancellation happened. Pretty lousy timing on that. However, thanks Solar Ham for putting so much information on your homepage. It's quite helpful. Alright, so here's the Gong show. Check out the solar polar north pole there. Whoops. And now we have the south pole charging the entire current sheet. At least according to the Earth and Stereo B. We're going to stop that in a minute and back that up so you can see what's going on a little bit. Now, first of all, you notice this fan-shaped region here. That's associated with that incoming active region. It's very big. It's got a lot of magnetic complexity. And the Earth is about to snap into a magnetometer spike when it gets into these broad lines in this region. So, see those lines there? Now, at the same time, what's happening is this active region is pulling up the stronger solar polar field in the south. So the north polar field is still there. You see the green on the thing. What I'm going to do momentarily is I'm going to bring up some old images here when the sun was super active so you can see how volatile this can be. But first I want to back this up here so you can see how this works. You may not realize how it works, but you'll at least see the field snapping. As we say day after day, this can change with no warning, and it pretty much did this time. You see a little bit of red south solar polar field leaking in there. And then all of a sudden the magnetism just snaps across. Let's just hit play again so you see that. And there you go. The heliospheric current sheet primarily charged by south polar field. Again, don't worry, folks. The north polar field is still there. Now here we're going to harken back to a time when the sun was much more active, just at the most recent peak of solar activity here, which was in the month of September 2017. We've loaded September 9th through September 18th, just to give you an idea of what this thing looks like when the sun's at a high level of activity. You can see a lot of the fields are obscured. There's a lot of field switching going on. So this is nothing to get freaked out about too much. It's just an indication that perhaps the north polar field is going to unfold itself. Maybe it's going to go back into phase, possibly ramping up to the pole flip that will occur during cycle 25. In any case, that's what it was like in September of 2017, that is, and here's the current situation. Keep in mind this data is still 2 hours old, and we're going to see if we see any of those magnetometer spikes yet. We could get some significant perturbations from this, as the fields could flip back at any point depending on the power of that incoming active region, which looks like it is weakening. Let's see what's going on spaceweathernews.com. We see no X-ray flux since this morning's video. And the magnetometer is looking weak. So it looks like there's a bunch of plasma-induced magnetic fields in there, in the corona, that are going to keep this thing weak, actually. There's probably going to be very little snap across unless that field switches back polarity, which is entirely possible, especially considering we got a KP of 0 right now. So if you knew what I was thinking, well, that's why. Cheers. And there's your electron flux. No charging hazards. F2 layer is looking pretty normal. We have had a couple of earthquakes since this morning also, a 5.3 in Tonga, 4.9 in Taiwan, a 5.2 in the Philippines. All right around the watch warning areas, people. Oh, there we go. The last hour. Looks like 2 different quakes there, 2 different depths in Alaska. There's a location of that. We've seen a lot of activity in the Aleutians lately. As you can see, how many dots are in Alaska. Those are some of the biggest we've seen out there for a while. Might as well look at volcanoes, volcanodiscovery.com. Shivaluch, 17,000 foot ash plume there. Karangatang's northern crater. Oh man, look at that. Active lava flow up there. Mount Manam, 16,000 foot plume from that. Karangatang, that's new since this morning. Krakatoa remains on alert status 3. Tucono, Popocatépetl, 25,000 foot ash plume. That's a new peak for Popocatépetl. If you head to Volcano YT, by the way, there's a bunch of footage of that. In fact, let's go have a look. We also got Fuego Turrialba, Poaz, Revenador, Sabancaya, Planchon Pedroa, Nevas de Chilean. That's a lot of volcanoes. So if you head to Volcano YT and you stop casting, Popocatépetl, check out the eruption on this thing. I know there was some nighttime lava. Let's see if we can find it for you here. Check it out. All kinds of interference on the camera at the same time the eruptions are happening. Not because of cloud cover, people. Check it out. Incandescence coming out of the caldera. Anyway, subscribe to Volcano YT if you haven't done so. Highly recommended. Man, stop with that orientation thing. Dear Google, hire people who know how to write software. Volcano YT. Streams going on constantly. It looks like Merapi's live right now. Check it out. Merapi erupting as we film this. Not a very good view, but anyway. Volcano YT. Good times. They've also got a second channel there, YTS. Check out the Popocatépetl live video. Holy crow. Man, oh man. You want to see some stuff that'll scare the crap out of you? Check that thing out. Moving on. Wanted to show you some interesting galaxies we saw here while classifying on Zooniverse.org. Check this one out. Some kind of, I think it's a jet effect actually, people. Look at the way it's lined up with the one of the poles here. Could be a jet effect we're looking at there. So that's a crazy one. Also, check out how irregular this one is. Now remember, when you're classifying it, you can ignore all these other ones unless they're part of the system you're looking at in the center. But check out the irregularity of that one. I think we called that 2 spiral arms. And let's just classify one here on the largest citizen science project in the world. No, keep that open. By the way, this is used to visually analyze galaxies. We've got too many galaxies out there to have computers doing it, so we need people like you to create logins. Check this one out. We got a very interesting one here. Serious features, disturbances, a dust lane. Is it an edge on disk? No, it's not. Is there a bar? There is not a bar. But there's a big time dust lane. Is there a spiral arm pattern? Say no. Say moderate bulge. What do you think? Major disturbance? I think it's merging, actually. We're also going to say irregular. We're going to say lens or arc, irregular, and a dust lane. And possibly some overlapping. We're also going to save that one for posterity. And there you go. That's how you classify a galaxy. Get yourself published in a scientific paper. Help the cause by looking at the deep field. We only got about 7 million more galaxies to go, so do it now. I don't know how I lost the page. Anyway, check out Zooniverse.org. Get yourself a login, Classify some galaxies. Will you be classifying this one? Pretty interesting. It looks lenticular. Are there radio jets? We may never know unless you classify it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Smash team. Tales from the Smash side. And stay tuned because pretty soon it's going to be the smAsho's court. And lots of other stuff coming out all the time. Maybe not as much plasma as is coming out of your local yellow dwarf, but lots of stuff coming out. Thanks again. Don't accept any wooden nickels. And when you're staring at plasma, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at plasma. If ye know what's good for ye.